Hey guys, welcome to my channel Belle and Cosmos. This is Belle, and today's video will be about my BookTube newbie tag because I have not yet done that. Actually, the problem is I found out very late about the BookTube newbie tag at all. Like, I didn't know that this thing existed. So my first video was not the BookTube newbie tag. I'm going to make up for that in this video, and along with the BookTube newbie tag, I will make a small wrap up for my for all the reads I finished in January. So let's dive right into it. So first of all, apologies because I'm not doing very good. Lately, I have a lot of work on my shoulders. I have projects and stuff. So, and also I've got cold, which is a big drawback at this moment because I really want to do something with my voice. You know what happened? Let me start by sharing this small thing. I started singing for a few months ago. I started singing on Instagram and on YouTube as well, but my YouTube channel wasn't doing very good, so I stopped singing on YouTube, but I still sing on Instagram. So what happened was I have participated in this audition thingy for K-pop songs. You know, life is like that, I guess. So it's about trials and errors, isn't it? So I tried again this year. But this is a different type of a competition. I mean, this is not the same thing which I participated in last year. Anyways, getting straight to the video, apologizing once more for my voice today. So firstly, we will start with the BookTube newbie tag. You can see I have so many bits of paper with random questions written on them. I found the questions on, I had to Google up the questions for the BookTube newbie tag. So, yeah, and I have jumbled them all up. There is no particular order in which I'll be answering these questions. So let me just jumble them up a bit. So the first question will be, let me just pick one up. Where do you read? Oh, I don't know if you can see the question. Well, here it is. Where do you read? Where do I read? I read on my bed. Yeah, it's the most comfortable place for me, my bed. So I read on my bed. Yeah, and FYI, so as I was saying, at this moment, it's very cold in India, and that is the main reason why I caught a cold. And not very cold in the sense like very cold, but yeah, you get it right. The type of cold which helps you catch a cold yourself. So yeah, sorry for the sniffing. I read on my bed, snuggled up inside my blankets and stuff. Right, the next question. So the next question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? Interesting question. Some fun and unique things. As much as I would like to share about the fun and unique things I would like to bring to YouTube, to BookTube precisely, I would not like sharing half of those things with you. That takes away the fun. But you can expect some very cool videos coming up. And cool in the sense that they will be aesthetic and they will be visually pleasing. That being said, the fun things are a mystery, and so are the unique things. The unique things can be described by one word that I would like to bring aestheticism alive, and I would like to bring diversity in my videos. I would try my best not to make the same types of videos everywhere. Like, I would try not to make them monotonous. That's what I can promise for now. and the rest you just have to wait and see for yourself. So, coming to the next question, I will pick this. When did you start reading? When I started reading, it was like when I was 7 or 8, I suppose. Yeah, it was around the same time when I started painting and I started writing books of my own. Yeah, you can say they were like picture books. Well, yeah, books. And for a 7 or 8 year old, I wrote pretty good stories. I still write. So that's one more fact you know about me, that I write. I started reading around that time, like when I was 7 or 8 years old. It happened very rapidly. It was like falling in love with reading was such a different experience altogether. I did not expect it to happen. In my family, there are no book lovers. As much as I love books, I know that in my family there are no such book lovers. Therefore, I single-handedly started my passion for books. And I have to say this, like, my mother, she has a big hand behind my loving books, because whenever I asked her to bring me more books or buy me more books, my mother, she did it. So whenever I asked for books from anyone, I got them. I have to be thankful for that. Coming to the next question. So the next question will be this one. What kind of books do you like to read? Frankly speaking, I don't have such biasness towards books of a particular genre. Like, if you give me a good book, I will read it. That's the end of the discussion. I will read a good book. Yes. So, going on to the next question. So, the next question will be this one. What are you most excited for about this channel? Belle and Cosmos was the name for my Spotify podcast account. Like, I have a podcast on Spotify called Belle and Cosmos, and I had decided that I would post the episodes on YouTube, which is why I started this channel, Belle and Cosmos. Although I started that last year, but I never continued with the podcast, so I have to make more episodes for me to be able to post them on YouTube. Right now, I'm very excited about the BookTube thingy I'm starting with Belle and Cosmos. I have also linked down below the Instagram channel, my Instagram account, Book Belle the Bookie. So books are my thing. Until I upload podcasts, I will upload BookTube videos, because I really have a lot to talk about. When I'm reading, I think of who will I be able to share these things with. That is what led me to create this channel, and I'm very excited to share my reads, monthly reads, and my lots of discussions with my own self up until now. But right now they will all be posted on YouTube, so those discussions will be with my viewers. So I'm excited about this new thing, the possibility of having so many friends outside in the world with whom I can speak endlessly about books and nobody's gonna judge me. That's what I'm good at doing, talking about books. Going on to the next question. So the next question will be this. What book or series got you into reading? It will be kind of a breach, but it's Harry Potter. The series which got me into reading are the Harry Potter series. Of course. I mean, most of the kids, they started reading because of Harry Potter. Many kids around the world. And I'm one of them. This one was an easy question. Moving on to the next question. Let's pick this one. What challenges do you think starting a BookTube channel will be hardest to overcome? Good question. There are so many challenges. First things first, I'm from India, and although many people read books in India, I personally know a lot of people who are bookworms, but you know what? Not many people go about searching for book recommendations, book rants, book reviews. They don't search these things in general on YouTube. they just read basically what they want to read. All right. This is what I have an idea of, but I guess there are some people who love booktubes as well, because I know a few Indians, my fellow booktubers from India, who love watching booktube videos. And that is where I started this channel, because I had this in mind that if I watch booktube videos from India, there have to be other people who do the same. So getting the audience will be the hardest part of starting the booktube channel, because there are so many booktubers in the field already that my thing is kind of like way out of their league, you can say, because they make fascinating videos. But this time I'm here to stay. And why I'm saying this is because the number of times I started something, I left that thing midway because I thought that I was not doing good. But I have realized of late that to do something and to get somewhere, we have to start something and continue that thing. That is the main reason why, even though I have got a bad cold at the moment, not very bad, but bad in general. So even though I have got this bad cold, I'm making this video because I have to stay strong and I have to continue posting and uploading videos time to time to stay on the right track. But my career on the YouTube channel, YouTube thing, depends totally upon my viewers. It would mean a lot if you share my videos with other book dragons, bookworms, book elves, book whatever, I mean, you get the idea, right? Your bookish friends, your nerds, send them my videos. Only then can I stay strong and rooted in this booktube channel. It means a lot to me when you share my videos, and it means a lot to me when you like them, subscribe to my channel. It's like a big part of my dream is coming true when you do these things. So make sure to share my videos so that I get the audience and overcome this hurdle, this one. Moving on to the next question. I think there are only 3 more questions left. I'll pick this one for now. Why do you love reading? Why do I love breathing? No, this one sounds so synonymous to why do I love breathing, because breathing keeps me alive, and equally, reading helps me stay positive, helps me escape the real world whenever it gets too tough, and I'm quite the escapist, I have to say. So breathing and reading kind of are synonymous to me. I love reading because reading keeps me alive. So there are like 2 questions left. What questions would you ask to your favorite booktubers? I have a lot of favorite booktubers, and if I were to list them in this video, the video would never end. I would like to ask them how they keep on making videos and how difficult was it for them when they first started out as new booktubers, like myself at the moment, and how much had they how much they had to struggle and get through what difficulties. I would like to know beforehand so that when I face those difficulties, I would not break down. This is my question to the booktubers watching this. If you are a booktuber, please help me out, that how do you guys stay so strong in your positions as booktubers even though things get hard sometimes? That's my question to the booktubers. And here we are to the last question. Why did you start this channel? As I said, I started this channel to post my podcast episodes. But since I have stopped the podcast thing for a while, paused that thing, not exactly stopped it, and I will resume it when I have plenty of time in my hands. This channel was basically the YouTube side of my podcasts. And right now, this channel serves as my BookTube channel. I started it because I have a lot of things to talk about, because I keep on reading and my mind, it speaks louder than my words. and I need people to listen to all my rants. And what place is better than a BookTube to share all these things? Yeah, that's the end of the BookTube newbie tag. And now begin. So now begins the January wrap up. Yes. In January, I read 5 books. Not very proud. I could have read more, but considering I didn't have so much time in my hands and I had a lot of assignments, a lot of exams to give, this was the best I could do. The first book I read was David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. I have to accept that I did not read the entire thing, the original entire thing. What I read was a shortened version of the exact book, which I had won in a painting competition. So, yeah, that is exactly what I had read. But it was exactly the same story as this. So there weren't many differences, save for a few things, a few details which were left out because, of course, this is a shortened version of the exact book. But the story talks about David Copperfield, who is a young boy, and he has never seen his father because he died before he was born. And he stays with his mother and a caretaker called Miss Spaghetti, who he just calls Spaghetti. And his story afterwards, like how he goes on out in the world because his mother marries a man. Oops. His mother marries a man and he has to be sent away to a boarding school, which he doesn't like at all. And after that, grows up, and then he suddenly comes back home and finds that he has a little sibling. Not exactly a sibling, but you get it, right? A half sibling. But then tragedy strikes as his mother and the sibling dies. And after that, a lot of things happen in his life which are very confusing. At least they were to me, but worth the read. Although I would not like to read the broadened, real, unabridged version of this book because I found it pretty boring to begin with. There are some people who like Charles Dickens and there are some people who don't like. As I was saying, there are some people who like Charles Dickens and some people are there who don't like Charles Dickens. I'm somewhere in between. Although I like his books, but they sometimes tend to get very boring, very dragged, and I would not want to read the broadened version of David Copperfield because I have got the gist of the story. For this particular book, that is enough for me, the gist of the story. And if you want to read the book, you can give it a try because as I said, there are some people who fall in love with Charles Dickens. I have a few friends of my own who love Charles Dickens, so you can go and give it a shot. For me, it was not a very interesting read. And explaining it any further would spoil the entire thing for you. So I prefer you go and read it on your own. Going on to the next book. So the next book is a poetry collection. As I said in my previous video, if you have watched it, I love reading poetry collections. And this one was the first poetry collection I read this year. It is Light Filters In by Caroline Kaufman. She is an Instagram poet and this is her first book. I loved this book. This was very good. It got to the bottom of my heart. It talked about Caroline Kaufman's past experiences and the number of bad things that had happened to her in the past. It gave a trigger warning at the beginning of the book that if somebody wants to skip this book, they can, because it has a lot of triggers, and I would suggest that if you find those triggers threatening, then you should not read this book. As the author said herself, you can skip it. Going on to the next book. The third book I read this year was The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane. I hope I pronounced that correctly. This one talks about the charisma myth, basically. Like, charisma plays a major role in getting you somewhere, in, cracking interviews and meeting new people, signing business, treaties, not exactly treaties. You understand, right? Business deals and stuff. So charisma is needed everywhere, and Olivia Fox Cabane, goes into the art of charisma, and she teaches charisma professionally. So she wrote this book where she is trying to teach charisma. I found it helpful. I did. I would not lie. Um, but it was not what I expected it to be. So I read it with a lot of hope of finding out about charisma and the art of charisma. I did find a lot of good details. I did find a lot of information which I'm going to use in my future meetings with new people and see if they work out. But like, that's after COVID-19 ends. Before that, this book was not very necessary. If you really want to read this, you can read this. It's not bad. You have a lot of things to learn from this book. On Amazon and Goodreads, this has a lot of good ratings. I have mixed feelings for this, but those mixed feelings, majority of the feelings are positive. Although I did not finish reading this book, apologetically, I can assure you there is something to learn from this. There's something to learn from every book you read, no matter how bad it is. But this is good. You can give it a try. So the next book I read was The Vagina Monologues by Eve Ensler. Eve Ensler is a playwright, a feminist, an activist, and she writes plays about women and women empowerment and the types of struggles women have to go through. That's why The Vagina Monologues talks about the struggles of women who have confronted their fears and have come and told about their experiences to Eve Ensler, who has now compiled all of their experiences in this book and in all her plays she performs from place to place. It talks about her plays, the vagina monologues as they are called, the women around the world who suffer endlessly. It's a feminist book with a few great messages. Then after all of it, it also talks about Eve Ensler's performances at places and the influence she and this book and the entire play thing has on women's lives. And many celebrities had joined the vagina monologues when it had started. And the success of this particular play on and the effect it had on women's lives. I was recommended this book by Emma Watson because I know I usually follow the books read by people like Emma Watson, Reese Witherspoon, and Kim Namjoon, as I said. So I follow books read by these influential people, and Emma Watson praised this book, which is why I picked this up. So if you really want to read something which is so beautiful and talks very openly about women and women's problems with their vaginas and the fact that there are some women who are oppressed around the world by their fathers, some by their husbands, and many by the cultures they're born in. These women who fought back, if you really want to know about those women and the kind of torture they have had to go through and how the tortures have been highlighted in this book and how great an impact it had on the lives of women, you should read it. I think it was the best book of the month, theme-wise. Going on to the next book. So the next book I read this month was There's Something About Christmas by Debbie Macomber. I picked this book up in December 2020, but after that, school got in the way and it messed up my plans of finishing this book in December. So I had to carry it over to 2021 and finish it in this year. So I finished it in this month. It was good, a soft, light-hearted, breezy romance about these two people. One of them is kind of a journalist who goes to this pilot's place to offer him advertisements in their local newspaper, and the pilot is hell bent on making her fall in love with him. From the very beginning of the book, he's flirting with her so thoroughly, and it was fun actually. It was fun to see the two of them quarreling all the time. And the girl hates being on planes. The girl's name is Emma. She hates, traveling in planes and stuff. And the pilot makes the newspaper office's CEO a deal that he would not pay him for the advertisements, but he would rather be happy to, take the woman, Emma, to interview some of the winners of a baking competition, I guess. Yeah, that was a baking competition. Some of the winners of three winners of the baking competition that she had to interview, being a journalist. And she hates flying, and he just loves teasing her and getting on her nerves, all the same falling in love with her, and she falls in love with him as time goes by. This is So last year, what happened, I was so much in the mood for Christmas that I watched a hell load of, Hallmark Christmas movies and bought this book as a gift for myself for Christmas. And I loved it. Thank goodness I bought it. I would read way more books by Debbie Macomber in the future. It was such a light-hearted read. I needed it. I laughed out loud at times. It was so funny in between. And I loved Oliver, who was the pilot basically. I loved Oliver's character. He was such a charismatic young man with a flirty thing about him, with very funny ways, and yet very romantic at the same time. He was so arrogant but so lovely at the same time. The most precious human being I've ever read about. And there's another bonus story in the book which I've not read yet. The fact is, I don't see people talking about this book at all. Like, there are so many books posted under the name of Debbie Macomber on Instagram, like hashtag Debbie Macomber. If you search up on Instagram, you'll see so many books, but you'll not see there's something about Christmas. Not this cover, not this book. But it's worth it, It's not much. You can see it. It's not very lengthy. And you can see there's the page in between cracked open a bit. That is the page which leads to the next bonus story, which I did not read. I'll read it, continue with that this Christmas. So then going on to the other few books I have. So there is another book which I started reading in December, but I have not yet finished it. I don't know, it's kind of putting me in a reading slump, although I picked it up with so many high hopes of loving it. It's Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. I fell in love with Twilight when I first read it. It's like majority of the teenagers love Twilight. Not many, but majority of them. Although I started reading this book with so many hopes of loving it, I love it. It's not like I don't like it. It's just Edward's point of view on the whole Twilight, like the first book in the Twilight saga, which is called Twilight. It's Edward's point of view of the same book, the same events, the same characters, the same narrative, everything, but through Edward's point of view. It's interesting because Edward turns out to be pretty arrogant at times, and he's so difficult. Edward is so difficult to deal with. Half the time I, the pages I read, the pages I tabbed, half the time Edward was like hell bent on trying not to eat up Bella, to drink her blood. He was trying so hard not to kill his entire class in the process of killing Bella at the end, He was so, you can say, he found Bella's blood and the smell very appetizing. which makes sense. Um, that's all I know about this book because I haven't gone any further. That's all. That's all. Yeah. But I think I will finish this in February. I think. Look at the breadth of the book. I picked it up because I wanted to read Edward's point of view on the entire thing. I wanted to see his take on falling in love with Bella, um, and what happens next. Now, all I really want is for Stephanie Meyer to write a book based on Carlyle's point of view and Carlyle's history, because I find him very fascinating and he's the best character. So yes, you can read it if you have finished reading the Twilight Saga and you really are in love with the entire thing, like myself, like yours truly, then you can go ahead and read this book. It's not like I hate it. Don't misread my comments on the book. It's a very good book. I personally love the Twilight Saga. I love it so much that if you really want me to read all the books in the series right now, right at this moment, I will gladly do that. So yeah, I will pick this up in February, which is like 2 days away. So yeah, see you in February. February wrap up. Oh, there's one more book, of course. So this is the next book. I haven't finished it yet. I know I'm really dragging this book more than I should. I started this, and you won't believe me when I say it. I started this in July 2020. I know I love Murakami and I take a long time to finish his books. That's the main reason why whenever I pick up a Murakami novel, I make sure I have plenty of time in my hands. This is not a novel, this is a short story collection. Um, and Blind Willow Sleeping Woman is actually the first short story in the book. This is such a weird read. I have mixed feelings about it. Even though I love Murakami to the core of my heart and stuff, but this has some short stories which are beyond me and I cannot understand them, even though I try very hard, and they can be pretty disappointing. Now, for instance, there is this story where this man falls in love with this woman who is a wife and a mother, and when her husband is away, the man comes in and, yeah, stuff. So but the base of the book, the base of that particular story, the theme, the foundation, the plot, the meaning, the gist, I did not get it. I did not get it. Sometimes it becomes so difficult to read Murakami because he never explains stuff and you just have to roll along just like that, hoping one day you'll find the meaning. Then you cannot, because this guy is beyond anything. And this is not my first time saying this. If I really ever had the chance, I would marry Haruki Murakami. Like, yes, I love him so much. He's like my ideal type. I really find him interesting. And he has qualities which I've never seen any man possess. I don't know, I find him interesting. Anyways, this is the end of this video. Please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon for notifications. Like this video if you found it if you enjoyed watching it, and do share this with your fellow bookworms. And yeah, that's the end of it. Take care, read more, and lots of love from me to you. Bye bye.